Europe is getting it wrong for most visitors in 2026, not because the cities are bad, because the gap between what they promise and what they deliver has never been wider. Over-tourism, price inflation, and safety concerns that no travel influencer is being paid to mention. We ranked 15 European cities from worst to best on crime data, healthcare access, value, authenticity, and the honest experience of travelers who went before you. Number 15 will genuinely shock you. Number 1 will completely change your European itinerary. Number 15. Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona is one of the most visited cities in Europe. It is also one of the most openly hostile to the visitors that have made it that way. In 2024, residents of the Barceloneta neighborhood took to the streets with water pistols aimed at tourists. That is not a metaphor. It is a documented protest against a city that has allowed short-term rental saturation to displace local residents at a rate that the Barcelona City Council's own housing reports describe as a crisis. The pickpocketing situation on Las Ramblas is the most documented tourist crime pattern in Europe. The Spanish Interior Ministry records Barcelona as the city with the highest number of reported tourist theft incidents on the continent year after year. The scam taxonomy here is specific. Distraction theft near the Sagrada Familia, express robbery on the Metro Line 3 corridor between Plaça de Catalunya and the port, fake police officers requesting passport inspection near La Boqueria. These are not occasional incidents. They are documented operational patterns that repeat because the volume of new arrivals makes them perpetually viable. For senior travelers, Hospital Clinic on Carrer de Villarreal provides specialist emergency care, adequate medically. But the journey through a city where pickpocketing risk is active on every major tourist transit route requires a level of vigilance that exhausts senior travelers before they have seen a single Gaudi building. The next city has no pickpocketing reputation. Its problem is something more fundamental and considerably more expensive. Number 14. Venice, Italy. Venice introduced a day-tripper entry fee in 2024. That decision was made because the city's management authorities concluded that uncontrolled visitor volumes were causing irreversible physical damage to a UNESCO World Heritage Site. When a city charges you to enter because too many people visiting it is destroying it, that is information. The main tourist corridor between Santa Lucia Station and Piazza San Marco operates under one-way pedestrian flow management on its narrowest bridges during peak season. A gondola ride costs €80 for 40 minutes. The canals on the main tourist routes are clogged with other gondolas, water taxis, and delivery boats. The romantic isolation that the imagery implies is not available on the Grand Canal in July. A meal within 200 meters of Piazza San Marco runs between €40 and €90 per person. For food that locals do not eat and do not recommend, Ospedale Civile SS. Giovanni Paolo provides emergency care within the city. But Venice's labyrinthine geography means that emergency response times are longer than any mainland European city of comparable tourist volume. For senior travelers with cardiovascular considerations, that response time variable belongs in the pre-departure planning conversation. The authentic Venice, Cannaregio in the evening, the Rialto market before 8, the neighborhoods where washing still hangs between medieval buildings, exists, but it requires knowing where to go. And most visitors never find it. What comes next costs twice as much as Venice and delivers half the cultural substance. Number 13. Santorini, Greece. Santorini receives approximately 2 million visitors per year. On an island with a permanent population of 15,000, the math produces predictable results. Accommodation in Oia during peak season runs between €300 and €800 per night for a Caldera View room. A Caldera View dinner costs between €60 and €120 per person. For food, that the price implies more than the quality confirms. The famous Oia sunset is witnessed every evening by crowds so large that the local government has implemented crowd management measures on the viewing platforms. The cable car between the Old Port and Fira queues exceed 45 minutes each direction during peak season. The Santorini Health Center handles routine emergencies. Serious cases require air transfer to Athens, a 45-minute flight from the island's small airport. For senior travelers with time-sensitive cardiac conditions, that transfer window is a planning variable that the island's luxury positioning consistently obscures. The next entry does not have Santorini's medical transfer problem. It has a problem that is harder to see coming because it is built into the structure of the experience itself. Number 12. Dubrovnik, Croatia. Dubrovnik is genuinely one of the most beautiful walled cities in the world. The limestone walls, the terracotta rooftops, the Adriatic below, everything the photographs show. And something else, Dubrovnik receives more visitors per square meter than any other city in Europe during peak season. UNESCO has formally warned that the volume of tourism is causing measurable physical damage to the Old Town's stone surfaces and infrastructure. The Straden thoroughfare between June and September operates at crowd densities that make walking it feel less like sightseeing and more like being processed. Accommodation inside the Old Town walls runs between 200 and 500 euros per night. A dinner on the Straden runs between 40 and 80 euros per person. Those prices reflect the address, not the quality. KBC Dubrovnik on Roka Mišetica provides emergency care. Transfer to Split or Zagreb is required for specialist procedures, a journey of approximately 2.5 hours by road or 45 minutes by air. The next city has none of Dubrovnik's heritage beauty. It replaces that beauty with a reputation so carefully constructed that millions of visitors arrive every year and discover the construction only after they have paid for it. Number 11. Amsterdam, Netherlands. Amsterdam's canal rings, the Jordaan, the Rijksmuseum, the Van Gogh Museum. These things are real and genuinely extraordinary. The Amsterdam that most tourists visit is the area around the red light district and Leidseplein, which has developed into a specific product designed to extract money from visitors in the shortest possible time. The city government has banned new tourist shops in the historic center, restricted Airbnb, and implemented measures specifically because the density of tourist infrastructure was displacing the actual city that people were coming to see. Theft on the trams running between Central Station and the main museum corridor is documented by Amsterdam police at a rate that makes phone and wallet security non-negotiable rather than precautionary. A hotel in central Amsterdam runs between 150 and 300 euros per night. The Anne Frank House, the Van Gogh Museum, and the Rijksmuseum all require advance booking months ahead during peak season. Amsterdam UMC provides emergency and specialist care at the highest level available in the Netherlands. For senior travelers, Amsterdam's medical infrastructure is genuinely excellent. The experience of navigating a city whose primary tourist zone has been colonized by stag parties is a separate matter. If this list is giving you a completely different picture of Europe in 2026, subscribe right now. This channel publishes destination rankings, safety breakdowns, and honest travel intelligence every week that the tourism industry has no financial interest in sharing before you book. The next city is quieter than Amsterdam. Its problem is not about crowds. It is about a specific gap between the price tag and the product that has been widening for years without the tourism marketing catching up. Number 10. Reykjavik, Iceland. Reykjavik became one of Europe's most fashionable city break destinations over the past decade. The northern lights, the geothermal pools, the raw volcanic landscape. The reality involves costs that few travel articles prepare visitors for honestly. A meal at a mid-range Reykjavik restaurant runs between 40 and 70 euros per person. A pint of local beer costs 10 to 12 euros in a standard bar. A Northern Lights tour costs between 80 and 150 euros per person, with no guarantee of sighting, because the Northern Lights require specific atmospheric and weather conditions that a booking confirmation cannot produce. The average traveler spending 4 nights in Reykjavik and taking 3 standard day tours spends between 2,000 and 3,000 euros before accommodation. Landspitali University Hospital provides emergency and specialist care at an international standard. Medical infrastructure here is not the concern. Value is. For comparable natural spectacle at a fraction of that cost, Northern Norway, Northern Finland, and Northern Sweden all deliver the same aurora viewing opportunity in settings of comparable dramatic beauty. The next city has none of Reykjavik's cost problem. It has a safety problem that the National Tourism Board has been managing with careful language for years. Number 9. Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon was the best-kept secret in Western European travel for approximately a decade. Affordable, genuinely local, with a food culture that consistently surprised visitors who arrived with low expectations. That secret is over. Lisbon now receives over 10 million tourists per year in a city of 500,000 residents. The Alfama, the historic Moorish quarter, has converted so thoroughly to vacation rentals and tourist restaurants that the local population has been largely displaced from the neighborhood they built. A meal in the Alfama today runs between 25 and 50 euros per person, at establishments serving tourist-facing versions of traditional Portuguese food. A beer at a Miradouro, the hilltop viewpoints that were once neighborhood gathering spots, costs 4 to 5 euros. From venues that now exist exclusively for visitors, accommodation in central Lisbon runs between 150 and 250 euros per night, a 400% increase from the prices that established the city's reputation as affordable. Hospital de Santa Maria on Avenida. Professor Egas Moniz provides emergency and specialist care. Medically, Lisbon is well served. Financially and authentically, it is no longer the city that built its reputation. Drop a comment right now and tell us which European city disappointed you most in the last 2 years. Be specific. We want the detail, not just the name. The next city has not lost its authenticity. It never had enough to lose. Number 8. Pisa, Italy. The Leaning Tower of Pisa leans. That is the entire proposition. The tower is genuinely an architectural anomaly. The Piazza dei Miracoli surrounding it is legitimately beautiful medieval architecture. The average time visitors spend in Pisa, according to Italian Tourism Authority data, is 2 hours and 40 minutes. Almost all of it in the same square, almost all of it taking the same photograph. The entry fee to climb the tower runs 43 euros per person. For a structure you can see entirely from the outside in under 10 minutes. The surrounding city of Pisa has genuine character, a functioning university, excellent food, streets that bear no relationship to the tourist zone. Most visitors never see any of it. The Azienda Ospedaliero Universitaria Pisana provides full emergency and specialist care. Medically, Pisa is fine. As a destination, it is the most efficiently monetized single photograph opportunity in Europe. The next city has been described by its own residents as a place you visit once, and the reason why tells you everything about the gap between European destination marketing and European destination reality. Number 7. Bruges, Belgium. Bruges is one of the most perfectly preserved medieval cities in Northern Europe. Its canal system, guildhouse architecture, and cobblestone market square are genuine and remarkable. They are also being experienced by over 8 million tourists per year, passing through a city of under 120,000 residents. The strain of that ratio is visible in every interaction and every price tag. Restaurants on the marked square operate on a tourist turnover model with no incentive to serve good food at honest prices. A full Belgian meal runs between 35 and 60 euros per person, for food that locals do not order in those establishments. The souvenir shops selling chocolate, lace, and beer outnumber genuine local businesses in the historic center by a margin that makes the city feel like a theme park version of itself. AZ St. John Hospital on Ruddershove provides emergency care within the city. Ghent, 40 minutes away by train at 4 euros, delivers comparable medieval architecture, better food, a functioning local population, and a fraction of the crowd. The next city cannot be saved by a 40-minute train ride. Its problem is structural, and it has been building for 20 years without resolution. Number 6. Rome, Italy. Trevi Fountain and Vatican Zone. Rome is one of the greatest cities in human civilization. That is not the debate. The debate is whether the experience of visiting it in 2026 justifies what it costs in money, time, and physical energy. The Trevi Fountain is extraordinary. It is also surrounded by a permanent crowd of several thousand people pressed together in a space designed for dozens. The Rome Tourist Police report it as one of the highest volume theft locations in the entire city. The Vatican museums run 6 million visitors per year through a sequence of corridors under crowd conditions that make lingering in any room practically impossible. The Sistine Chapel prohibits photography and speaking above a whisper. Guards enforce those rules through continuous announcements that replace the silence the space deserves with a bureaucratic soundtrack. Accommodation near the main heritage sites runs between 150 and 300 euros per night for mid-range properties. Policlinico Umberto Ferfurd on Viale del Policlinico provides emergency and specialist care. Rome's medical infrastructure is strong. What is not strong is the ratio between what you spend and what you actually experience. Go to Rome at 4 in the morning and the Trevi Fountain is yours. That single piece of timing information transforms the city. But it requires knowledge that the booking process was never designed to provide. And now we are into the 5 cities that still deliver, genuinely. without qualification, without the gap between the marketing and the reality that has defined every entry above this one. The next city costs less than Rome, crowds less than Barcelona, and delivers a cultural depth that both of them have been slowly trading away for decades. Number 5. Bologna, Italy. Bologna is the city that Italians visit when they want the Italy that tourists have not yet found. The arcaded streets, over 40 kilometers of covered walkways, mean that Bologna is walkable in any weather, at any pace, without fighting foot traffic. The food culture here is the reason the phrase Bolognese exists. Mortadella, tortellini and brodo, tagliatelle al ragù at a trattoria on Via Pescieri Vecchie runs between 15 and 25 euros per person, for food that the recipe implies has been refined here for 500 years. Because it has. Accommodation in Bologna's historic center runs between 70 and 130 euros per night. That is less than half the Roman equivalent for a city that delivers more genuine Italian character per street corner. Piazza Maggiore, the central square, is used by Bolognese for everyday life in a way that Piazza Navona in Rome has not been for 20 years. Policlinico Sant'Orsola on Via Pietro Albertoni provides emergency and specialist care at the highest level available in the Emilia-Romagna region. For senior travelers, Bologna's flat historic center and excellent medical infrastructure make it one of the most genuinely accessible major Italian cities on this list. The next city is not in Italy. It is in a country that most American travelers have never considered as a primary European destination, and the specific reason it belongs here has been building quietly for 2 decades without a single major tourism campaign behind it. Number 4. Porto, Portugal. Porto received over 8 million visitors in 2024, but unlike Lisbon, the pressure of that volume has not yet hollowed out the city's character in the same way. The Ribeira, Porto's riverside historic district and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, remains genuinely walkable and alive with local activity. The Douro wine region, accessible by train from São Bento station along one of Europe's finest rail journeys, begins approximately 100 kilometers east of the city. A port wine tasting at a Vila Nova de Gaia lodge, Ramos Pinto, Quinta do Crasto, Graham's, runs between 10 and 25 euros per person. For a guided tasting of multiple styles in a cellar that has been aging wine for centuries, accommodation in central Porto runs between 80 and 150 euros per night, less than Lisbon, significantly less than Barcelona. For a physical city product that independent design publications consistently rank among Europe's most visually compelling, a francesinha, Porto's signature dish of layered meat, bread, and molten cheese sauce, at a proper Porto restaurant cost between 10 and 15 euros. Centro Hospitaler, Universitario de São João on Alameda, Professor Hernani Monteiro provides emergency and specialist care. For senior travelers, Porto's combination of accessible private healthcare, central flat riverfront zones, and city character that has not yet been fully monetized makes it the strongest Portuguese city recommendation on this list. The next city is in a country that is rebuilding its tourism reputation in real time. And what it has built is genuinely one of the most extraordinary urban experiences in Southern Europe. Number 3. Tbilisi, Georgia. Tbilisi is the capital of the Republic of Georgia and one of the most genuinely surprising cities available to European travelers in 2026. The old town, Abanotubani, is built around natural sulfur baths that have been operating since the 5th century. The bathhouses still function. Entry to a private sulfurous soaking room costs approximately 10 to 20 US dollars per person. The wine culture in Georgia is not a marketing narrative. Georgia is the origin of winemaking, with archaeological evidence of viticulture dating back 8,000 years. A bottle of Erkatsateli or Saperavi from a Kakheti Valley producer costs between $5 and $15 at a Tbilisi wine shop. For wine that won blind tastings against Bordeaux and Burgundy at international competitions, accommodation in Tbilisi's historic center runs between 40 and 90 US dollars per night for quality boutique guesthouse options. A full dinner of Georgian food, khinkali dumplings, walnut-stuffed pekali, church kala, and fresh bread from a tone oven cost between $15 and $25 per person. Tbilisi's Mediclub Georgia and the Aversi Clinic Network provide private emergency care at international standards for the region. The political geography of the South Caucasus requires awareness that Georgia's proximity to Russia and the ongoing tensions around the occupied territories of Abkhazia and South Ossetia are planning variables for any traveler. The U.S. State Department maintains a Level 2 advisory for Georgia. Tbilisi itself has not experienced the incidents that drive that broader advisory, but informed travel requires knowing the context. If this list is delivering the honest European travel intelligence you have been looking for, hit the like button right now. The next city is in a country with no such advisory complexity, and it has been quietly delivering one of the finest small capital city experiences in Europe for 2 decades without ever making the lists that send crowds somewhere to destroy what they came to find. Number 2. Ljubljana, Slovenia. Ljubljana is the capital of Slovenia. Population approximately 300,000 people. A medieval castle directly above the old town. A river, the Ljubljanica, lined with outdoor cafes under willows and crossed by the Triple Bridge. 3 hours by train from Vienna. 2 hours from Zagreb. Slovenia receives approximately 6 million tourist arrivals per year. Austria, immediately to the north, receives 31 million. That disparity is not explained by quality. It is explained by marketing budgets and the gravitational pull of famous names. Ljubljana's old town operates entirely car-free along the riverbank, a pedestrian environment that major European capitals spend decades trying to engineer and largely fail to achieve. Accommodation in Ljubljana runs between 70 and 130 euros per night for a quality central hotel. Below Vienna, Venice, and Amsterdam, pricing for a comparable physical product. A meal at a proper Slovenian restaurant, wild mushroom soup, grilled trout, a glass of Vipava Valley wine, runs between 20 and 35 euros per person. The Vipava Valley and Brda wine regions are producing bottles that win international blind tastings against far more famous competitors, at prices that reflect their obscurity rather than their quality. University Medical Center Ljubljana on Zaloška Street provides emergency and specialist care at a standard competitive with any Western European capital. For senior travelers, Ljubljana's flat riverfront old town, excellent medical infrastructure, and absence of the crowd density that makes European heritage navigation exhausting makes it possibly the finest overall senior travel destination on this entire list. One city remains, and it earns the top position not through spectacle or fame, but through a combination of cultural depth, value, safety, and genuine livability that no other city on this list matches across every dimension simultaneously. Number 1. Tallinn, Estonia. Tallinn has the finest preserved medieval old town in Northern Europe. That is not a subjective opinion. It is the conclusion of architectural historians, UNESCO evaluators, and anyone who has walked through the Vanillin on a morning in May when the cobblestone streets are quiet and the limestone towers of the city wall are catching the early light. The old town was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1997 specifically on the basis of the exceptional integrity of its medieval urban fabric. Not restoration, not reconstruction, the originals. The town hall on Reykjavik Platz has been operating in its current building since 1404. The pharmacy on the corner of the square, Reykjavik, has been operating continuously since 1422, one of the oldest continuously operating pharmacies in Europe. These are not museum pieces. They are functional parts of a living city. Accommodation in Tallinn's Old Town runs between 70 and 130 euros per night for quality central hotels. Below Vienna, Paris, Amsterdam, and Rome, pricing for a product that is architecturally and historically superior to what those cities offer in a comparable price bracket. A dinner of traditional Estonian cuisine, elk, wild boar, black bread, and locally brewed craft beer at a proper Tallinn restaurant runs between 20 and 35 euros per person. A tram ride anywhere in the city costs €1.50. Estonia has been building its digital governance infrastructure since the early 2000s. The country that invented Skype, introduced internet voting in 2005, and operates the world's most advanced digital public services system. The practical result for visitors is that the city's public Wi-Fi, transit payment systems, and municipal services operate at a standard that cities 10 times its size have not matched. North Estonia Medical Center on J. Sutiste Road is Tallinn's primary hospital, one of the finest in the Baltic region, with full specialist and emergency capacity and English-speaking staff at every level of service. For senior travelers, Tallinn's combination of world-class medieval architecture, excellent medical infrastructure, English language accessibility, and some of the finest value-for-money hospitality pricing in Northern Europe makes it the single strongest overall recommendation on this entire list. The best European city in 2026 is not the one on the billboard. It is not the one your algorithm recommended. It is not the one where residents are spraying tourists with water pistols because the overcrowding has become intolerable. It is the one that has been quietly getting everything right for over 600 years and still charges 70 euros a night for the privilege of sleeping inside its walls. Tallinn is that city. Thanks for watching. If this list changed even one destination on your 2026 European itinerary, drop it in the comments right now. Tell us which city you are removing and which one you are replacing it with. We read every single comment and we answer as many as we can. For more destination rankings covering Asia, the Americas, and the Middle East with the same level of detail on safety, value, and honest local recommendations, click the next video on the left. We will see you there.